So guys, in today's session, we are going to discuss about transform script. Okay. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about the transform scripts, guys. So this transform scripts comes under import sets topic only. Okay, this transform scripts topic comes under import sets only. Okay. Fine. Let me open the personal developer instance. Okay. So in the personal developer instance, whenever we load the data, we'll go to the whiteboard. So this is the sheet that is given by the client, guys. So when client loaded this data, okay, it will go to first temporary table and it will store the data into the temporary table. Okay, it will go to the temporary table and data will be loaded into the temporary table. Once the data is loaded into the temporary table, this transform map will run. So regarding this transform map, we discussed in our last session and our before last session also we have discussed about it. Okay, so in the transform map we can create a transform scripts as well. Okay, in the transform map we can create a transform scripts as well. So we'll go to the transform map that we created. We can type a transform map. So this is the transform map that we created. This transform map we created between temporary table, temporary problem table, and problem table. Okay. So we have done the field mapping. We have done the field mapping using auto map matching field. If the Excel sheet column name and ServiceNow target table field names both are matching, if both are matching, then field mapping will happen automatically. Else you can do using mapping assist, you can map the fields, or else you can create a mapping manually. Okay. That is how you will do the field mapping. After doing the field mapping, you can make I have made a number field as coalesce field. Okay. I have made number field as coalesce field. So this number field, what it does, whatever the number that is coming from source, if the number is already there in ServiceNow, it will update that record. Whatever the number that is coming from source, if that number is already there in ServiceNow, it will update that record. Whatever the number that is coming from source, if that number is not there in ServiceNow, it will create the record. After that, we have discussed about choice action. We have discussed about choice action create. Okay. Choice action create, choice action ignore, choice action reject. What exactly choice action create does? Okay. When a choice that is coming from source, okay, when a choice that is coming from source, okay, that choice is not there in ServiceNow. Okay, if the choice is not there in ServiceNow, okay, so as the choice is not there in ServiceNow, if it has to create a new choice, so you will select choice action as create here. Okay, if it has to create a new choice, then you will select the choice action as create. If the choice is not there in ServiceNow, only choice field, only the choice mapping should be ignored. Okay, only the state field mapping will be ignored. Sorry, category, right? Only this category mapping will be ignored, guys. Okay, so let us say category. I am passing here somewhere around um, category. I am passing um, services. There is no services category in ServiceNow, right? Is there any services category in the problem table? Hmm? Is there any services category in the problem table, guys? No. So as this choice is not there in ServiceNow, if this choice has to be created, means you will select create here. So if the choice is not there, the choice as the choice is not there, in field map should be ignored, means you will select ignore. So if you want to reject the total row transformation, if you want to reject the total row transformation, you will select choice action as reject. Okay. And similarly, if the choice value, yesterday we discussed here, client will tell you upfront that if the choice value, okay, work in progress, client will tell you state work in progress means in service now it has to be updated as root cause analysis. So then what I am doing here, I am converting work in progress to root cause analysis using source script. This is what we have discussed in our previous session, isn't it, guys? Hmm? Okay. So in today's session, we will discuss the transform scripts, guys. So to explain better, what I am doing is I am going to open a new Excel sheet. Okay. Okay. So guys, there are actually 7 type of transform scripts. 7 type of transform scripts. On start, okay, on complete, on start, on complete, on before, on after, on before, on after, okay, on choice create, on foreign insert, on foreign insert, on reject. So these are the 7 transform scripts that will run, guys. Okay, these are the 7 type of transform scripts. On start transform script, on complete transform script, on before, on after, on choice create, on foreign insert, on reject. Okay, so these are the 7 transform scripts that will run. On start will run, okay, before the transform app begins, on start will run. So let us say this is the Excel sheet, guys. So on start will run only one time. On start will run only one time. That is actually beginning of the transform app. In the beginning of the transform app, on start transform script will run. In the end of the transform map, on complete transform map will run. Okay. On start will run in the beginning of the transform map. Before transform map started, right? Before transform map started, on start transform script will run. After transform map is completed, on complete transform map will run. So on start will run only one time. On complete will run only one time. Okay. So then before each row transformation, okay. So here I am writing before each row, on before. Remember before each row. That means here 15 rows are there, right? So on before transform script will run 15 times. On before transform script will run 15 times. There are 15 rows, right? So on before transform script will run 15 times. It will run before each row transformation. So before row 1, it will run. Before row 2, it will run. Okay. Understand my point? Okay. Let me do one thing. Before row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. So you can see before each row, the on before transform script will run. So remember after each row. So after each row, okay, you can see here after each row, after row 1, after row 2, after row 3, after row 4, after row 15. So on after transform script will run. How many rows are there? Those many times on after transform script will run, guys. If there are actually 15 rows, on after transform script will run 15 times. You got my point? On start will run only one time. Okay. On complete will run only one time. On before will run before each row transformation. On after will run after each row transformation. Okay. On after will run after each row transformation. Okay. Fine. And we have on choice create, on for an insert, on rejected. So guys, if you see here, if you have selected choice action as create because of this one, because of this choice action create, if a new choice is created, because of this choice action create, okay, because of this choice action create, if a new choice is created, okay, if a new choice is created, then on foreign insert will run. Sorry, on choice create will run. On choice create. When a new choice is created because choice action is create. Okay, this is actually on choice create. Okay, on foreign insert. On foreign insert will run. On foreign insert will run. When a new reference record, when a new reference record created because of choice action create, like, so we are passing Ranbir Singh. Ranbir Singh user account is not there in service now because of choice action create. Ranbir user account is created. In that case, on foreign insert will run. Okay, on reject. On reject will run when row transformation is rejected because of choice action reject. So if you select choice action as reject because of this reject choice action, if row transformation is rejected, then on reject transform script will run. You understand, right? When exactly which transform script will run and all. Hmm? Okay. So guys, in which case we will write on transform script? In which case we will write on start a transform script? In which case we will write on complete transform script? Okay. In which case we will write on before transform script? In which case we will write on after transform script? In which case we will write on choice create? In which case we will write on foreign insert? In which case we will write on reject? So out of these guys, maximum we will be using only on before transform script. Okay. So out of these only we will be using maximum on before transform script. So this will run before each row transformation. Remember, before each row transformation, this transform scripts will run. Okay. So till this point, everybody is clear or not? Okay, fine. So we'll go to the transform map. So in the transform map, if you go to this tab here, we have transform scripts here. When I click on new here, you will be able to see different type of transform scripts here. You will be able to see 7 type of transform scripts here. You can see on start, on after, on before, on choice create, on complete, on foreign insert, on reject, and on start. Okay. So I'll give you one example so that you will be able to understand better. Okay. So client has given me a requirement, guys. So client has given me a requirement. Okay. Client has given me a requirement. Okay. So client has given me this sheet. Okay. Okay. Client has given me this sheet. And client told me in this record, in this Excel sheet, in this Excel sheet, there are some numbers which are already there in service now. These problem numbers, there are some problem numbers which are already there in service now. There are some problem numbers which are not there in service now, like these numbers. These numbers are not there in service now. Client has told me there are some problem numbers which are there in service now already. There are some problem numbers which are not there in service now. Okay. So client told me no existing record should be updated. Only new records should be created. That means he is telling that no existing record should be updated. Only new records should be created. So what exactly will happen? How Coalesce will work? If the number finds, if the number is there in service now, it will update the record. If the number is not there in service now, it will create the record. Client is telling no existing record should be updated. Only new record should be created. Understand my point? No existing record should be updated. Only new record should be created. So for that, what I am doing is I am going to create a transform script that is actually on before transform script. So on before transform script will run before each row transformation, right? On before transform script will run before each row transformation, right? Okay. Okay. On before transform script will run before each row transformation. So Here, this before on before transform script will run before each row transformation. Here in transform script, there is an object called action. If action is equal to update, if it is update operation, ignore is equal to true. Status message is equal to only new records will be created. Okay. So what I'm doing, if it is update, I'm actually ignoring the transformation using on before transform script. If it is an update operation, I'm actually ignoring the row transformation using ignore is equal to true. I'm actually showing the status message as only new records will be created. Okay. So here what I'm doing is I'm going to load the data now. So I'm running the transform app here. See the transform history here. You can see no existing record updated here. Updates 0. Only new records are created. If you go to the import set here, total 57 rows are actually transferred. So you can see ignored. Why it is ignored? Only new records will be created. So row transform ignored by on before transform script. You can see here the status message is showing here as only new records will be created. Row transform rejected by on before transform script. You can see ignored by on before transform script. So these all are the records are actually these are all records already there in ServiceNow. These records should not be updated. So then what I have written in the on before transform script, I wrote an update here. If action is equal to update, ignore is equal to true. Okay. So don't do the update operation. Do only insert operation. So if you take a look at here, existing records are not updated. Only new records are created. You can see you can see 21 new records are created. Hmm? So it has created a new records. It did not update any existing record. That is because of this transform script, guys. You guys are able to understand? Hmm? So client will tell you, now I am going to do one thing. Okay. So here client will tell you no new record should be created, only existing record should be updated. Then what I will do, the on before transform script, if the action is equal to insert, it will not actually allow record creations, it will allow only existing records to be updated. Okay. So I am going to load the data again now. Okay. So I am going to load the data again now. You can go to the, you can see only updates has happened, no new record created. If you see here, so we did not change the message, right? Status message we have to change only. Okay. You can see this message we have to change, alter it, but we haven't altered it. What is it telling? Only new records will be created. Row transformation ignored by on before transforms. Okay. Suppose guys, suppose here in the Excel sheet, he is passing ABC group here. If ABC group is inactive in the ServiceNow group table, if the ABC group is inactive, go to the user administration, go to the groups. So if the group ABC group is inactive, active false. See, you are passing the group, but it is inactive in ServiceNow. And we have to show that please pass an active group. For that, what I am doing here again, in the on before transform script, I am writing if, so we have source object here, source object here, source dot view underscore assignment group. Okay. Source dot assignment group is there. Then it will go to if part, else it will go to else part. Okay. Else ignore is equal to true. Ignore is equal to true. Status message is equal to uh, assignment assignment group is mandatory. You are showing the status message here. So if the group is there, so that group is active or inactive. Now I want to check using glide record here. So sys underscore user underscore group. Okay, group. So in the group name comma source dot u underscore assignment. Okay, gr dot add active query. Only active groups are allowed. Okay, so I'm just removing this line. Only active groups are allowed. So now what I am doing is in the Excel sheet, okay, this ABC group is inactive in ServiceNow, guys. This ABC assignment group is inactive in ServiceNow. Is it active or inactive? Hmm? We have made inactive. So I'm going to load the data again now here. You can see here total ignored. So why it has ignored total? We can see only active groups are allowed. Only active groups are allowed. So row transformation ignored by on before transform script. So what is the error message? Only active groups. See, we are passing the group name, but that group is inactive in ServiceNow, right? So we are telling that group is inactive in ServiceNow using on before transform script. Only active groups are allowed. You're able to understand my point? You are able to understand my point? Okay. Okay. Fine. So we have discussed majorly about on before transform script, because on before transform script is the commonly used one, guys. Okay. So here I have got chance to use only apart from on before transform script, I have got chance to use only on complete transform script. So why did I use on complete transform script? So once row transformation is completed, okay, total once a transform map is completed, I mean total all row transformation is completed. So once all rows transformation is completed, on complete transform script will run. On complete transform script will run. Okay, fine. So here after row transformation is completed, if you can see, so which row is ignored, which row is skipped, so we can check everything, right? So here which row, so which row is ignored, which row is actually skipped, which row is actually um, uh, updated, which row inserted, which row uh, so here we can check the status here. Okay, i have to I have to send an email notification. I have once a row transformation is completed, once transform map row transform completed. Okay, I have to send an email to the management that I have to send an email to the management that this record is updated, this record skipped, this record inserted, this record ignored, something like that. Every record status I have to send an email. Every records to send every record status in the email. So I can use on complete transform script. Using on complete transform script. Okay. So using on complete transform script, we can pass every record status. Using in the on complete transform script, you can get that, right? Because it is running in the end of the transform app, right? So you can get every record status. You can get every record status using on complete transform script. Okay. Guys, remember mostly we'll be using. Okay. Guys, as I told you, on complete will run in the end of the transform map. Once a transform map completed, that means once all the rows are transformed. Once all the rows are transformed, the transform map will be completed, right? Once the transform map is completed, on complete transform script will run. So here in the on complete transform script, you can get okay, you can get so which record updated, which record ignored, which record skipped, which record inserted. So every record status you can get it here. Every record status you can get it here, guys. Okay, so you can actually send an email once a transform map is completed. You can send an email through on complete transform script that. Okay, you can fire an event. You can fire an event here, gs.event queue. So you can send an email here from the on complete transform script. Okay, so event name, object name, event param 1 and event param 2 you can pass here. So it will actually trigger the email notification. So once the email notification is triggered, you can trigger the email script as well. So in the email script, you will write a glide record and you will actually query the history table. So this is actually called a transform history table. Okay, you will actually uh, query the transform history table. So in the transform history table, which record updated, which record skipped. So everything you will actually get the status, guys. Okay. So everything you will get the status, so that you can actually send which record inserted, which record updated, which record skipped, which record ignored. So every record status you can send as an email to the uh, respective persons using on complete transform script. Okay. So guys, you mostly focus on only on before, guys. On before is actually one of only the important one. Okay. You understand, right? Everyone. Any questions from anyone, guys? Any questions from anyone?
Sir, hi, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Krishna.
Sir, normally transfer map will run on our requirement as based on the number coilies or other field coilies like that, no, sir. In that place, we are using transform scripts as and as per our client requirement.
Yes.
So one doubt, sir, if number is not there, I mean client is not given number, is going to give number. I mean client is going to provide any number in the problem number or record number in the Excel sheet data.
So in the if client has not given any number here, okay, if client has not given any number here, okay. So in that case, what exactly will happen? In the transforms map, we have actually in the transform map we have, where is the transform map? Okay. So here you can see create a new record on empty query list fields. Okay, if you check this checkbox, if the number is coming as empty, it will create a new record.
That's okay, sir. But I am asking, oh, total number field is empty, is not provided any number. So in that case, we are going to take that number field in coilies or uploading the data. Is
Total
it going
number
to
field empty. Total number field empty. I didn't understand the question clearly.
I mean, in the data total record, the number field is not given. Total data is empty. Is
Hmm.
going to provide like that, or is going to provide any number? Record details on number field.
So client will give you a proper Excel sheet, guys. In that Excel sheet, what will be the query list field and all, he will tell you. Okay, what will be the query list field and all, he will tell you. So in this case, number is the query list field. Suppose if he is giving user data, so he will tell you email is the query list field, or username is the query list field. Something like that he will tell you.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, sir.
So we have discussed about Excel sheet, right? So in tomorrow session, I will tell you. So in other ways as well, how do we import the data into ServiceNow from different sources? So Excel sheet is actually one of the source, guys. Okay. Suppose this Excel sheet is not there in my computer. Okay. So here this problem Excel sheet is there in my local computer, right? In my computer, right? In the downloads folder. Okay. In the downloads folder, you can see this problem. This Excel sheet is in my computer. Suppose this Excel sheet is there in the Linux server. Somewhere in the server, this file is there. So ServiceNow has to connect to that server it has to fetch that file from the server. Okay, ServiceNow can connect it to the server and it will fetch that file from the server. It will upload that file into ServiceNow. Understand my point? This file is there in my laptop, guys. Suppose, understand, this file is not there in my laptop. This file is there in somewhere in the Linux server, somewhere in the download folder. In the Linux server, in the downloads folder, this problem file is there. So then ServiceNow has to connect to that Linux server. It has to go to downloads folder. It has to pick that problem. It has to pick that problem file, and it has to load the data into ServiceNow. You got my point? You got my point or not, guys? So those are called scheduled imports, guys. No, those are called data sources. So that data sources topic we'll be discussing in tomorrow's session. Okay.
Sir, I sent you that thing message, sir.
Yeah,
Good evening, good day.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Joshua, any question? Lakshmi, Samata, Prithvi, Sai Kiran, Anusha, any questions from anyone?
No questions, sir.
Okay, tomorrow we'll be discussing data source topic, guys. Data sources means, suppose data is not there in your Excel sheet. Suppose data is there in somewhere SQL server. Data is there in somewhere LDAP server. Data is there in somewhere Linux server. Data is there somewhere in some other place. So ServiceNow has to connect to that particular tool. Let us say data is there in Snowflake tool. Data is there in ServiceNow. Data is there in Salesforce tool. So ServiceNow has to connect to Snowflake. From Snowflake, it has to fetch the data and it has to load the data into ServiceNow. So in place of Excel sheet, ServiceNow will connect to external system. From the external system, it will load the data. Okay. So that we'll be discussing in tomorrow session, guys. Okay. So you are clear with the transform scripts, right? Everyone? Guys, clear or not? Okay. Okay, guys, we'll connect in tomorrow session. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.